So, picture this. You've got royal status, Hollywood ties, and a platform bigger than most Fortune 500 brands. And what do you do with all that? You sell jam. Not just any jam, though. Meghan Markle's latest venture, American Riviera Orchard, came with the kind of overproduced launch you'd expect from someone who thinks adding dried rose petals to a mason jar makes it luxury. We're talking pastel filters, whimsical fonts, and products so vague they might as well be props in a Pinterest fantasy. Floral sprinkle jars? What even is that? But here's where it gets messy. Not because it didn't sell, but because it didn't exist. At least, not in the way fans were led to believe. Meghan's team claimed everything sold out in minutes, but the people who were refreshing the site live, they noticed something weird. Items were already marked sold out the second the page went live. That was strategy. Manufactured scarcity meant to create buzz, and it might have worked the first time, but you can't run the same illusion twice and expect people to keep clapping. It stopped being clever and started feeling desperate. And here's the thing, even her most loyal fans didn't know how to defend it. Meghan's relaunch video was meant to generate buzz around her brand, but it had the opposite effect. Her delivery felt flat. The video was well lit and polished, but something about her energy was noticeably off. Her eyes didn't focus, her voice sounded forced. She came across less like a business leader and more like someone just trying to get through it. The reaction was immediate. Viewers pointed out that she seemed distracted, even anxious. There was no real engagement with the audience. It felt rehearsed, but not convincing. People close to the project later hinted that the shoot was chaotic. There were too many takes, last-minute adjustments, and moments where she had to step away. Whether or not that's true, the final result didn't show confidence. It showed pressure. Instead of excitement, the launch raised concerns. Not just about the brand, but about how Meghan was doing personally. And while the public was still picking apart her performance, attention started turning to Harry, who seemed to be slipping even further out of focus. While Meghan's public image took a hit, concerns around Prince Harry were beginning to grow louder. His recent appearances felt different, detached, quiet, and strangely vacant. There was no fire in his delivery, no weight behind his words. For someone who once thrived in front of a crowd, his presence now felt like he was just going through the motions. Several commentators noted the change. He looked drained, distracted, and at times simply not present. One image from a trip to London circulated widely, just a still photo, but it captured everything. His posture was slouched, his face blank, and his expression seemed lost. People started comparing this to his past. Harry has spoken openly about his history with anxiety, grief, and his past use of drugs and alcohol. He once admitted he drank to escape and used substances to numb what he didn't want to feel. That history, combined with his recent behavior, reignited speculation that those habits could be resurfacing. Nothing has been confirmed, and no official statement has been made. But the concern didn't come from tabloids. It came from how he looked, how he sounded, and how much he had changed. And while the public watched him fade, the silence from his inner circle only made things worse. This isn't the first time Prince Harry has shown signs of slipping. In his own words, he's talked about self-medicating to cope with the pressures of royal life and the trauma of losing his mother. He admitted that for years, he didn't know how to deal with what he was feeling, so he tried to escape it through alcohol, drugs, and avoidance. That honesty once earned him respect, but now those same patterns seem to be returning, and people are worried the cycle is repeating itself. The timing adds weight to the concern. His public appearances have become shorter and less frequent. When he does speak, the confidence is gone. His voice sounds flat, his expressions feel mechanical, and the spark that once made him relatable has faded. What's more unsettling is the lack of reassurance from those around him. No public pushback on the rumors, no meaningful interviews, no updates from Meghan or their team. Just silence. In the past, when Harry was doing well, they made sure the world saw it. He'd be front and center, smiling, engaging, speaking with conviction. Now, those moments are missing. And for someone whose image once depended on transparency, the absence of any clear signal feels like confirmation that something's wrong. Behind the scenes, the royal family is watching closely. While public statements remain measured, sources close to the palace say King Charles is genuinely worried, not about the headlines or the brand drama, but about Harry himself. According to multiple insiders, Charles has been briefed on his son's state of mind. He's reportedly torn between stepping in and stepping back. On one hand, he wants to help. On the other, he's exhausted. Years of conflict, public fallout, and private tension have pushed the relationship to its limits. There are rumors that financial support may still be quietly flowing behind the scenes, despite past claims that Harry was cut off. If true, it's likely not about funding a lifestyle. It's about keeping the situation from spiraling further. But even that kind of quiet support has its limits. Charles is under pressure to protect the institution. Continuing to back a son who's increasingly viewed as unstable could come at a cost, not just to the monarchy, but to his own legacy. This isn't about public relations anymore. It's about whether Harry can stay grounded long enough to regain control of his life. And from the outside, that control seems to be slipping fast. While concern around Harry continues to grow, Meghan's behavior has raised its own set of questions. Publicly, she's still pushing the brand forward, but the way she's doing it is starting to look erratic. One week, she announces that the fake sellout strategy is over, that the brand will focus on fairness and authenticity. Days later, she launches another limited drop with the exact same tactics. The messaging is inconsistent. The strategy feels improvised. Even the visuals are confusing. The branding leans hard into pastel colors, filtered images, and curated language that feels disconnected from who Meghan claims to be. There's no clear identity, just fragments of trends that don't form anything cohesive. Supporters are beginning to notice. Social media posts are still frequent, but engagement is down. The voice that once felt confident and aspirational now feels empty, like it's trying to mimic success rather than build it. For someone who built a reputation on being intentional and strategic, this new version of Meghan feels reactive, moving without direction, shifting tone without warning, and hoping the title alone will carry the brand. But the response so far suggests that title isn't enough anymore. As both Meghan's brand and Harry's public image falter, the distance between them is becoming harder to ignore. Behind the scenes, sources say the pressure is building. The weight of failed launches, growing public skepticism, and personal stress is taking its toll. Not just on their projects, but on their relationship. Even their most loyal supporters are growing quiet. It's no longer just a business problem or a PR issue. It's a household that seems to be under pressure from every direction and losing the ability to hold it all together. In the middle of all this, one familiar face quietly reappeared: Princess Eugenie. For months, she was seen as the last royal family member who hadn't fully distanced herself from Harry and Meghan. Then, she showed up at Royal Ascot, standing beside Misha Nano, one of Meghan's closest friends. That moment reignited speculation. Was Eugenie still in contact with the Sussexes? Was she acting as a quiet link between them and the rest of the family? Some called her a neutral party. Others went further, suggesting she might be keeping tabs, either for Meghan or the monarchy. But that kind of theory likely reads more dramatic than real. Eugenie has always walked a careful line. She stayed close to her family, but hasn't burned bridges with Meghan either. What her presence shows more than anything is how fractured the royal circle has become. The lines aren't clean anymore. Not everyone is picking sides. Some are simply trying to navigate complicated relationships in a family under pressure from all directions. And when people start watching for clues in something as routine as a seating chart, it means the situation has reached a level where even small details carry weight. Thanks for watching. If you are fed up of Meghan Markle, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out.